Hi everybody, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell project to share with you today. Today we're going to be featuring the Christmas Gleaming stamp set, and we're going to be making this card here, which is kind of a basic layout, but we're going to do some fun things with it. First off, we're going to be doing some heat embossing with copper emboss powder. We've got some copper foil that we're going to heat emboss on. We're going to make this fun tag with the delightful tag topper punch. And then we're just going to layer up our papers and put it all together. So let's go ahead and get started with our project. Okay, so I'm using Mossy Meadow and Old Olive and Copper because that all coordinates with the paper in this suite of Christmas Gleaming. So real fast, this is the way the card is going to be laid out. So we've got two sections, and then that's mounted up like so, and then that's going to go onto a vanilla card. Okay, so there's the real basic layout. So let's go ahead and put our embossing to work. So first off, we're going to use Versamark ink, and I'm using the Holly stamp, and I'm just going to ink that up with my Versamark, and I'm going to stamp it about 3 times. Now when you stamp on foil, you want to make sure you don't slide around a little bit. Foil is a little bit slick, so you want to make sure you're stamping firmly and then you're picking it right back up again. And you can see I'm kind of picking it up to the light to see where I've stamped so that I don't overlap if possible. Okay, so there's my 3 on my foil. So now I'm going to take that and I'm just going to dust it. So I've got some copper emboss in my tray, and I'm just going to shake it over the top. Alright, like playing in the sandbox, you're just kind of shaking it over the top. Tap off the extra. Okay, I'm going to put that aside for a second. Now the second thing I'm going to do before I heat emboss that is I'm going to punch out my tag. So here is the new delightful tag topper. Okay, you can do it with 3 different dimensions. I'm doing the biggest one of 2 inches, I think it is. Double check that. Use my little grid paper here. 2 inches, I am correct. Usually I write right on there my different measurements, but I haven't done that yet. It's too new, so I'm just sliding that all the way in, punch it, come out with my fun tag. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp on here as well. So I'm stamping again with my Versamark. Okay, I'm going to do it upside down, so I'm going to do my leaves and holly berries, just like that. Then, I know it's hard to see on film, but I can see it here in the work light. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to stamp my expression, deck the halls with balls of holly. Then I'm carefully going to dust this as well. And I just kind of scoop it up and shake it off. Now the nice thing about having some sort of a tray is that when you're working on lots of, projects like this, you don't have to keep putting it back into your little bottle. So this is nice. So, alright, so there's my tag. Now there's one more thing we're going to emboss, and it's the envelope. So I'm going to bring my envelope in one more time with that same stamp. I'm going to stamp the corner of my envelope, just like so. And one more time, I'm going to tap all my dust down to one side. And I'm just going to scoop that up on my envelope and give it a shake. Dust it off. Alright, so now I'm going to bring the heat tool in and I'm just going to emboss all of those at the same time. So the nice thing about embossing is I knew all the pieces I was going to emboss with the heat emboss powder, so I stamped and I powdered it, and I stamped and I powdered it, and I stamped and I powdered it. Now I can go back and do all the heat part of it together instead of on and off, on and off, on and off. So if you're making, say, a dozen cards, you could do all of your pieces, and as long as they're stamped and powdered, they could sit on the table for quite some time before you heat emboss them. So that's a nice little trick. Once I did wedding invitations, and I was making like 25, and it was all embossed. So I did a whole bunch, laid them out on my table, and then I just went right down the line with my heat gun. Now the heat gun is a little loud, so I'm not going to talk through it, but you're going to see as I do each one that the powder is going to change as it melts. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you, so maybe you can catch that change, especially watch for it on the foil. Okay, so here we go. See how it's starting to change? And then I just move right along my image. So did you see all that change like magic right under the camera? So now I've got all my elements and I can start working on putting my card together. Okay, so bringing in my layers. First I'm going to layer my card front onto my card base. Now I didn't make it out of a full mossy meadow because then I have to line the inside, so I thought it would be easier just to go ahead and make it on a vanilla backer. So I'm just going to add some snail to the mossy meadow layer, and then I'll just place it right on top of my card. So just position that like so. Put that down. Alright, so now I've got my second layer, which is Old Olive, a piece of DSP. So there's the other side of that DSP, some fun stars. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a Christmas paper, but I'm using the green side, and I'm just going to put this down in the bottom. Now, something I found, originally I made the card with snail on the back of the foil, but it didn't really stick after a few days, so I opted to switch over to my liquid glue. So you don't want to get too much on there. Oop, little glob in there, take that out. Okay, let's try again. So I want to very gently get my glue flowing, and then I just want to put a thin layer on. Make sure I get near my edges, but not too close. I don't want it to squirt out. Alright, so a nice thin layer on there. And then I'm going to position this on the top. And you can move it around a little bit with the liquid glue. Okay, so I've got a nice even seam between them, even spacing around my edges, and then I'm just going to press and hold that a couple of seconds so that that adhesive starts to adhere to the cardstock layer underneath. Okay, that's what we're shooting for here. Now I am going to put this whole piece up on dimensionals. So I'm going to flip this over, still apply some pressure there, and I'm going to put a dimensional in each corner and then one in the middle as well, just so it's got some bounty to it in the middle. That way my card won't collapse in. Okay, so like I said, this layer is going to go on with dimensionals, and we're just going to center it right on the field of green below. Okay, so there's that. Then we're going to make the tag. So I've already done the heat embossing. Now I'm going to bring in my blends. Okay, so I'm taking Cherry Cobbler and I think it's Old Olive. Oh, Mossy Meadow I chose to go with. Okay, so I'm going to color in the berries, right? So real lightly, and I'm using the light one. Tip of this blend is a little bit mashed. That happens when I do parties sometimes. Remember, your blends are very easy to flow the liquid out of, so you don't have to push super hard. And then I'm just going to come in with the darker one, and I'm going to go right around that little stem. Alright, so there's the two colors for that, and then I'm going to come in with the Mossy Meadow. I'm going to shade in my leaf. And if you want a little extra shading, you know, you can go right back over with another line or a shadow with the same marker. Or you can use, like I did on the berries, two different markers, the lighter one and the darker one. Now the nice thing about embossing your image is that the marker isn't going to affect it. Now if you emboss in white, you actually can color that with your marker, but with this gold it's not changing my effect. Okay, so there's my little tag. Now I'm bringing in the jewel ribbon. This one's Old Olive and the Pretty Peacock. Alright, so it's kind of got that two-tone in it, which is kind of fun. And I'm just going to take a snip of it, so like maybe 6 inches. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it together, right? I'm going to send it through the hole from my tag to the back, just like that. I'm going to use dimensionals to hold it down. So if you have an edge works great. Just anchor that down, or you can use 2. I'll put a couple more on here just to put it on my card. Okay. So, and you know what? I think I'm going to shorten it. So I'm going to save a dimensional. Okay, I have this extra space down here. So if you're feeling really crafty, you could freestyle across to make it a little shorter, or you could use your paper cutter. I just use my scissors. So now I'm going to peel off the backers, and I'm going to put this on the card right here. And then I'm just going to bring my snips up. They're already together, and I'm just going to snip them at the same time. And then you can separate those out to give them a little flare. Right? So there's our card. Well, it wasn't hard, was it? And it was fun to do the embossing. We like to do our embossing. It's got a nice showcase of embossing on the foil, right? And then paired it up with our Designer Series paper pattern that has the copper foil in it as well. And just like that, we've got our card. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's show and tell project. Remember, you can subscribe to my blog at pumpkinhillstampers.com. The link is below. The blog post for this project link is there as well, so you can hop on over and see all the materials that I used today. Plus, if you want the tutorial, you are welcome to come on through to the tutorial library and you can purchase the tutorial for $2. That helps support me as a demonstrator. And if you need supplies, please, by all means, hop on over to the Shop With Me link and you can purchase the supplies you need. So all of your support is greatly appreciated. I like sharing projects with you and I like being able to keep doing it, so thank you for those of you who are supporting me. And I'll see you again real soon with some more cards from this beautiful Christmas Gleaming suite from our new holiday catalog. Alright everybody, go do some fun stamping today. See you soon. Bye-bye.